Imagine you're watching a candle burn. 1 second, it's tall and bright. Over time, the wax melts, the wick shortens, and eventually, the flame goes out. But at what exact moment did it stop being a candle? If change is constant, how do we define when something is truly different? This is the Sorites Paradox, also known as the paradox of the heap, and it challenges the very way we understand identity, existence, and transformation. From a Buddhist perspective, this paradox isn't just an intellectual puzzle. It's a doorway to deep wisdom about impermanence, selfhood, and the nature of suffering. I remember a time when I struggled with change. A friend once told me, "You're not the same person you used to be." At first, it stung. But then I realized, of course I wasn't. None of us are. This paradox isn't just theoretical, it's something we all experience. The fear of change, the discomfort of uncertainty. This is where Buddhist wisdom becomes truly transformative. At the heart of the Sorites Paradox is a problem of classification. We want clear boundaries, black and white definitions. But reality doesn't work that way. This obsession with fixed identities is precisely what Buddhism warns against. The Buddha taught Anatta, the doctrine of no self. The idea that we are fixed, unchanging entities is an illusion. Consider yourself. You were once a child. Your body has changed. Your thoughts have changed. Your memories have shifted. Are you still the same person? If so, what part of you has remained unchanged? Science tells us that almost all the cells in your body are replaced over time. So if nothing physical remains the same, what is the you that persists? The answer, according to Buddhism, is that there is no solid, independent self, only a continuum of change. Much like the heap of sand in the paradox, we are a collection of ever-changing elements. Our suffering arises when we resist this truth and try to hold on to something permanent. Buddhism teaches that all things are impermanent, Anicca. Everything is in flux. Our thoughts, emotions, relationships, even mountains and stars. The reason the Sorites Paradox confuses us is because we expect continuity where there is none. The paradox assumes that a heap must have an exact point where it stops being a heap. But what if that's the wrong question? Instead of asking, when does the heap disappear? Buddhism asks, why do we assume the heap exists in the first place? This shift in perspective dissolves the paradox. There was never a single unchanging heap, only grains of sand moving through different arrangements. The same applies to life. The attachment to fixed states, to youth, to relationships, to identity, is what causes suffering. When we understand that everything is a process, we free ourselves from the illusion of permanence. The Sorites Paradox forces us to pick a side, heap or no heap. But Buddhism teaches a path beyond dualistic thinking, the middle way. Reality isn't about rigid categories, it's about interdependent processes. In the Diamond Sutra, the Buddha teaches that form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. This means that things exist, but they have no independent, permanent essence. The heap exists, but it is empty of an inherent, fixed identity. Similarly, you exist, but there is no singular, unchanging you. The middle way helps us navigate paradoxes by avoiding extremes. Instead of searching for a definitive line where the heap disappears, we recognize that all things exist in a fluid, interconnected way. A helpful metaphor is a river. It has a shape and form, but it is never the same from one moment to the next. This wisdom allows us to embrace change rather than fear it. Understanding impermanence and non-self isn't just philosophy, it's practical liberation. The Sorites Paradox isn't just about heaps of sand, it's about how we approach change in our own lives. Personal growth. Many people believe change is all or nothing. I'll never be successful because one small action won't make a difference. But just like removing grains of sand, small, consistent changes do create transformation. Progress is gradual. Letting go of the past. We cling to old identities. I am this type of person, or I can't change. But when we see ourselves as a dynamic process rather than a fixed being, change becomes natural. Overcoming fear of aging. If we grasp onto youth as our identity, aging becomes terrifying. But if we embrace impermanence, we flow with change rather than resisting it. A simple practice. Take a moment today to observe something changing. A thought, a feeling, or even the light outside. Notice how it shifts without needing to hold on. This mindfulness helps us embrace the truth of impermanence. So, when does a heap stop being a heap? From a Buddhist perspective, the real question is, why do we cling to labels at all? Everything we hold on to, our sense of self, our possessions, our experiences, is like a heap of sand. If we understand that nothing is fixed, nothing is separate, and everything is in motion, we can finally let go of suffering. This is the paradox of existence itself. The more we try to define and hold on to things, the more they slip away. But the moment we accept impermanence, we find true peace. What do you think? How does this paradox resonate with you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. In the next video, we'll explore how philosophy approaches this paradox. Stay tuned for an entirely different way of thinking about identity, logic, and change.